Blessings and peace, beloved. Thank you for joining us once again for our Great Controversy devotional series, where we are using the book Christ Triumphant that deals with the issues that are involved in this great controversy, this great struggle between Christ and Satan. The devotional thought for today, February the 21st, is entitled Results of Transgressing God's Law. The scripture reading is from Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 4, and it reads, "Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people." God had concealed in the earth his weapons whereby he would purify the earth at that time. The jets of water began to come up from the depths of the earth, and as this water increased in force, it would throw up stones and uproot trees. Do you not think that there were some who would have been glad at that time to find refuge in the ark? There were some reaching toward the ark and some entreaties, but it was too late. They began to move but it was too late. Let me pause there. Beloved, God always wants to put you far ahead. Remember, we read about 2 weeks ago, our devotional thought for the day is that God always wants us to be on vantage ground. So following the directions of God, believing his prophets establishes you and prospers you. Believing the word that he has given to you as a warning for the time to come, it puts you far ahead. God did not delight. You see, God did not want these people to be in this situation of this distress and the fear of their life. So therefore he sent them a message for 20 years, beloved. And that is more than 10% of their life, for 10% of their life. Because these people were living 700 to 900 years. So for over 10% of their life, God was giving them a warning message that was calculated to save them. He gave them this message in love. This is what they rejected. They began to move their families and they climbed up to the highest points of land and struggled for refuge there. What is the message that God has been giving you for 10% of your life, beloved? That is always in the back of your mind, always in the back of your conscience, that it just reminds you, and sometimes it gives you a haunting ever so slight. It's just with you, that something that you have to deal with, something that you have to do, something that you have to address, something that God expects of you. What is it, beloved? Because that message, that desire has been calculated by God to save you. If it's a good desire, they would climb into the highest trees, thinking to find refuge there. And beloved, can you imagine? God provided them a refuge, but they chose to reject the refuge that God was preparing for them. They chose to reject God's righteousness, establish their own righteousness. They chose to reject God's provision because they thought that the way in which it came did not make any sense. And they derided and scoffed and mocked. But where are they now, clamoring for their lives without hope? God does not want you to be in a position of being without hope. They would climb into the highest trees, thinking to find refuge there, but these trees would be uprooted and they would be buried in the waters of the earth. Thus the inhabitants of that long-lived race perished in the flood, and even the beasts perished, except those that were in the ark. Christ said, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Thus shall it be when Christ shall be revealed at his second coming. The law of God was first transgressed by Satan in heaven. He has kept up his controversy upon that point till the present time." So Satan's controversy is the law of God and will until the close of time. The test that was brought to bear upon the representative people in past ages will be brought to bear upon people in this age, where men will be tested with the message, whether or not they will believe the message, because the message is calculated to make them prepared and ready for the wrath of God to come. And nature will also show us the times, the signs of the times that we are living in. So they are representative people, beloved. Will men and women acknowledge the government of the God of the universe and honor that government? Did it make the inhabitants of the old world any better by trampling upon the law of Jehovah? Does breaking God's commandments make you a better person? Did it improve their condition to separate themselves from the law of their Creator? Will it make men and women any better in this age to put their feet upon God's holy law and transgress it? Beloved, breaking God's law does not pay. It does not make us any better, neither does it bring us into a better state. This was a temptation of Eve. Eve thought that she was ascending into a more higher and perfect state by breaking God's law, and what she realized that she got was chaff, fluff, dust, and ashes. So obedience to God's law, walking in obedience to God's law, is what prepares an ark for us, an ark of safety. In obedience to God, we are preserved. And it is better to be preserved, it's better to be laughed at and have to make serious sacrifices and then have a refuge in a time of storm than be afraid of the laughter, afraid of being called crazy and insane, be chummy with friends, disobey God, and then you and the friends that you chose above God are now without God and exposed to the overwhelming scourge that will pass through the land. Beloved, it pays to serve God. It pays to obey God. Obedience to God prepares a refuge for us and a shelter in the time of storm. Have an overcomer's day today. Blessings and peace.